We're going to start and do lesson 6. Some of lesson 6 we have done. It has to do with working with graphics, working with objects and drawing tools and things, but we're going to expand on it a little bit. We're going to create a document that the finished document will look something like this. I'm going to show you how to create columns, to create a border and shading around a paragraph, to create a page border that goes all the way around the page, also how to work with graphics a little bit more, and also how to create word art. So it is extremely important that you pay attention to what I'm doing and what I'm explaining here. This is really the finished document. This is what you start out with. It looks, let me reduce it down so you can kind of see the full page of it. And really it's on 2 pages. Notice there are no columns. Well, they treat this document as a 1-column document. In other words, goes from left to right all the way, but it's not split up into columns. It has no graphics, it has no page borders, it has no shading or anything. So let me show you first off how you get columns into your document. Be sure you have your cursor at the right spot, and columns are found under the page layout tab. And there is a column group right here. There are presets for 1, 2, 3, left and right. However, you do not get to set up anything else. So the best way to do this is go all the way down here to what it says more columns. Alright, more columns here. You have 2, 3, left and right. When I click on it, this is your preview section. This is very important. You will be using the preview section for many things today. Preview means whatever it looks like right here, that's what it's going to look like in your document. Notice the 2 and 3 columns, they split them up between equal width. Here's your left preset, means they're already pre-created for you. 1 column is larger than the other. You can kind of look at your example. Suppose we want 2 columns, we want them equal width, and this apply to, watch what happens. Right now it's set to apply to whole document. Watch what happens when I click whole document and click OK. It does exactly what it says. It puts the entire document into 2 columns. But in a letterhead, we don't want that. We do not want this top part to be in a column. We want it to go across the entire width of the paper. So let me undo this and show you how you do that. Again, it's under page layout, columns, more columns, choose 2, and the key is right down here, apply to. Oh, let me see if my cursor's in the right spot. It is. Apply to this point forward. That means from wherever your cursor is forward. Look at your example. Some of it will be across and the other one's going to be 2 columns. Here is my sample, my preview. The top part is in all 1 column, and then it splits it into 2. And if it would like to have a line between the columns, then you click here on this little box that says line between. Click OK. And now I have 1 column up here and 2 columns down here. Notice my ruler. When I click up here, it shows 1 column across. When I click down here, it shows 2 columns. Here's where I set the column. That's the little code. Notice down here, these are my article titles. They're in blue, probably a little larger font. Let me blow it up some. Notice these are my article titles. The paragraphs under them are the article itself, the body of the article. Notice this article right here, Club Reservations. It is split between column 1 and column 2. And that's really not a good idea to split the articles. So what we need to do is to get this one moved over to column 2. You do not press the enter key until it goes over there. What you do is you insert what we call a break. It is a column break. This particular one is. It's found under page layout under breaks. I click on the drop down arrow. Watch what happens when I click on column. It immediately moves my cursor and everything starting at my cursor to the second column. Now that is not split. Again, it was page layout under breaks and you choose column. That's how you get stuff in another column, back and forth. Alright, so we have our column set up and we move that article over. Now, what you do within a column stays within the column. In other words, if it tells you to center the article titles, then you click on them, go to the Home tab, and click the center icon. Do not press the space bar to make them center. Notice it centers them strictly within that column. How am I selecting all these? What key am I holding down to select all of them? I'm holding down the control key. Oh. And if I click all of them at once, all my article titles, and click center, they will all center up within the columns. So that is how you do that. Now, suppose it tells you to insert some clip art in this Hawaiian luau item. Clip art, as you know, is found under the Insert tab under Clip Art. I did a search for party because I couldn't find the Hawaii stuff, and so I'm going to choose, it's not a birthday party, let's just choose this one. Now, we've worked with graphics before. What handle do you use to resize them down? The corner handles. To resize them down, you can look at the sizing right over here. Notice when the graphic is selected, you have a new item on your ribbon. It is called Format Picture Tools. Notice what happens when the graphic is not selected. It goes away, folks. Some of you are going to say, I don't have that Format Picture Tool. The reason why you don't have it up here is that you must click and select the graphic. Now you have it. In order to make this graphic where you can move it anywhere on the document, it's called a floating graphic, you must change the text wrapping to square or tight. I don't care which one, but it is under the Format Picture Tools, text wrapping, and then you may click and drag and place that anywhere. You can make words wrap around it by clicking and dragging it. Now folks, sometimes it's a matter of playing around with the graphics, either the size or dragging it and moving it somewhere else. We wouldn't want it right there. That's not a good spot for that article. Let's put it here. That's a pretty good spot. Or you could put it right here. You don't want to split the words necessarily. That makes stuff too hard to read. So you want to drag it or place it on either side, and let's make it do like that. All right, let's go down. Let me finish about graphics. Let me show you something else you can do with graphics. Let's insert here. I hope I can get this. I want to insert clip art. Oh, I've already got it. Let me see if I can get the American flag. Let me go here. I have to work on this one. Okay, my collections. Let's search for the flag out here. Ah. Sometimes it finds it, sometimes it doesn't. Well, let me just use this same one again. This makes no difference. Let's pretend here we want to do what we call recolor it. You can recolor it by clicking on the recolor tab. It does what we call wash out or gray it out. And I'll show you why. We probably want it grayed out here in a minute. So let's make it the lightest we can. Also, let's resize it a little bit so it fits in. And you're going to go, well, it's over my words. I know that. I'm going to show you what you can do to it. You can change the text wrapping to behind text, and then it sends it behind the text. You need to be very careful when you send it behind the text because it's really difficult to get a hold of. So make sure you have done everything you need to do with that graphic before you click off of it. Because once you click off of it, see, I can hardly, that's it, I know, the two little arrows. But that is how you send a picture behind the text. Also, cropping, let's go back here in graphics. Let me show you what it means by cropping. Suppose I didn't want this little red border around here. Under the Format Picture Tools, folks, there is an icon that says crop. Notice now I can crop from either direction and cut off part of the picture. That is how you crop. You can crop the outside edges of it. Now it has to still, you can't crop in a shape mode. It is still a rectangle square. So in other words, I couldn't crop it till I just had that balloon. I'd have to draw me a balloon. But that's how you crop off edges. Let me see if I can get rid of that red again. I can't, there it goes. Now I click off of it and I can click on it again and size that as big as I want it. But I don't have that red area anymore. That is crop. It's still there, but it's not showing. All right, please pay attention here. When it tells you borders, there are two types of borders. There are paragraph borders, which go just around the paragraph or paragraphs that you have selected. How many paragraphs do I have selected in my, here, folks? I mean, wants to go with one. Remember, as far as Word is concerned, how many paragraphs do I have? 2. And I want to put a paragraph border around those. You must select it first. Paragraph borders are found under the Home tab in the paragraph group right here. This little icon that says Borders and Shading. Folks, please wake up and pay attention. I click on the drop down arrow, go all the way down to Borders and Shading till you open up this dialog box. Notice I have tabs. I have a border tab, I have a page border tab, and I have shading. This tab right here that's plain borders has to do with the paragraph border. It will only do it around the paragraphs that are selected. Notice it says apply to paragraph. Now, it's going to tell you what color to make your line. No, it will tell you what style to make your line. It will tell you what color to make your line. And it will tell you the width to make the line. We have those chosen, but look at the preview section right here. There's nothing showing. We have to show it in the preview section. Suppose it wants a top and bottom border. I click up here at the top and I click down here at the bottom. And that is your top and bottom border showing. Gentlemen, you're not paying attention. Please watch. If you go back over here and make changes, maybe I want a blue one. Notice, you may not be able to tell it, but the color is still red here. I must update the preview. If you make changes here, Your preview, it has to be reflected in the preview section. If it doesn't show here, you're not going to have it out on your document like so. All right? Let's go back now and apply some shading to those two paragraphs. Again, under the Home tab, the paragraph group, expand this button to go down to Borders and Shading. Go to the Shading tab. There are two sets of shading. The first one is the fill color, much like you just fill a paint bucket. Notice my preview. It updates. Then it's going to tell you to add a pattern, a certain percentage pattern. It's 10%, and they may tell you to add a color for that pattern. It's not the same as the fill. Here is the color for the pattern. And let's make it, it'll tell you white background 15%. Apply it to the paragraph, click OK, and now I have it applied to my paragraph. I'm sure you can't see that, so let me blow it up so you can. This got little dots in it. You still may not be able to tell. But that is paragraph shading and paragraph borders. Suppose it tells you to put a page border. That means it goes all the way around the page. That again is under this little icon, Borders and Shadings, but is the Page Border tab. You can do colored borders much like we did. A lot of times you can do an arch border. Let's see if I can find the palm trees in here. There they are. Notice my preview right here. I can reduce the size of those so they're not quite so big. It's going to apply it to the whole document, and I click OK. And when I shrink this down, notice I have a page border all the way around the page. Different from borders and shading. Paragraph borders and shading, I should say. One last thing, I want to show you how to do word art. There's several ways, but if the text is already created for you, all you have to do is select it. Word art is under the Insert tab over here in the text group. Right here, Word Art. It'll tell you what style to use, so you just click on the style and click OK. Again, you must change the word art to square or tight, and then you must shrink it down. Now folks, you are not locked into the color of this word art. You can format it just like you formatted your picture. Notice now I have a Format Word Art tool right here because it's selected. Here is my fill color right here. I can fill it. Watch my live preview. You can fill it with a color. The outline color is the line around it. And then I can go here and I can change the weight or the thickness of that color and add that. You need to be very careful to adding a shadow effect to the thing or adding a 3D effect to the word art, because sometimes it makes the color the word art real difficult to read. You can even change the color. If you get a word art style that has a shadow, you can remove the shadow. You can even change, let's put shadow on here and change the color of that shadow. A lot of creative tools are available. Oh, there it comes. And that's how you do it. I can even fill this picture. Fill this word art with picture. Let me change the weight of that back. Let me show you what I mean by filling it with a picture. I go here to picture. If I choose this one, this is a graphic. You can hardly tell it, I know. Let me take off my shadow. And then you can blow it up and see it. So there's like I said, and you're going to have to do some creative stuff. And the more creative elements you add to your flyer that you're going to use, see, there's that picture. added to that word art right there. Lots of different creative elements in this. All right, very quick.